Well, good morning. It is Saturday, May 25th, day 18 on the trail for me. I've left the Eckville shelter, this is a decent shelter. Like most shelters, it could have used a little cleaning, but it's nice. I ended up staying in the shelter, sort of for the camaraderie. I wanted to, meet and talk to some people, and that ended up being a good choice, as I did get that Trail Magic beer from Mitch. It was a pretty good beer too, and one I hadn't had before, so I got to add it to my list. And it was, as things were sort of winding down, we were just sitting around drinking the beers, and in the shelter, several of them, of the other people there, were leaders in scouting, and two of them had been scouts as youth, and it was fun hearing about their stories from scouting. And I think, the father and son had both been to Philmont a few years ago, and the one other guy in there, Wolfman, had been to Philmont as a scout. If I'm remembering correctly, he went as a scout and as a leader. So it was interesting to hear some of their stories. And the one other guy, Bear Taco, was talking about how, when he was a kid, traveling all over in his parents' van, going trips to Yellowstone Park and other areas, and how different things are now than when they were. He was talking about how when he was a kid, people would open their car windows and feed the bears at the national parks. And that was what was done. And to think about that nowadays, it just, it's a complete change in conservation, right? So that was interesting. Didn't sleep well last night. I'll sleep better tonight, probably. That's just the way it goes sometimes. All right, so anyway, today, the plan is a little bit shorter. About 13.2 miles today, to a campsite near some water. I think the name is Tripoli. That seems like a name that I'm remembering. A Tripoli stream or a campsite. And it looks like we've got a climb coming up early on. And then the rest is pretty much a ridge walk. And the climb isn't too bad. It's, I think, looked to be about 800 feet. Nothing excessive. I mean, really, there are no big climbs in Pennsylvania, just the nature of the trail here. We just have to deal more with the rocks. And so that'll be about it for the day. 13.2 miles, and then camp for the night in my tent. Weather's supposed to be pretty good next couple of days, and then rain on Memorial Day for us. I want to say that's supposed to be a bigger day for me on Memorial Day. I'm expecting to see a bunch of day hikers, and because of the Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see how it goes. Alrighty, so here is the trail right now. Oh, look at all these rocks to navigate. Made it to the top of the climb and along the ridge, and we get a view here looking southeast. So here's my path right now. There's a place. And then I gotta go down these boulders. And there's the next place. And it continues on. I'm at a power line, and one thing about power lines is when there's a power line, you got a good chance of a view. So there's the view on one side. And then let's look at the other side. Let's look at here. So this is the trail right now. Yeah, there's a lot of rocks. And the joke is, see, look over to the side, and there's just, all these other rocks. The joke is that those are the rocks that haven't been placed on the trail yet by the crew. Of course, not 50 feet after the joke I just made. I'm up on those rocks right now because here's the trail. If you can see those white blazes, that's the trail going up to that point up there. Well, at least there's a decent view from up here. All right, so that feature of the trail in Pennsylvania is called Knife's Edge. I never want to do that again. That was scary. I'm sure there are people who love that kind of thing. I'm gonna try and find a video, and maybe I'll link in the description so you can see what the whole thing is like. But I think that might have just taken me maybe 25 minutes to get over like a tenth of a mile. I mean, I'm not particularly afraid of heights, but there were moments where I was on a rock and it was like 6 inches of rock, maybe a foot of rock, and then it was a 100-foot fall on my left. Fortunately, there was bigger rocks to my right that I could kind of hold on to, but man, I do not want to do something like that again. I mean, I will if I have to, but that was not fun for me. All right. I decided to push on past where I was expecting to camp tonight because the weather report for Monday is not looking good. And there's a significant climb out of a town called Palmerton, and I would really like to do that when it's dry. So tomorrow is looking dry. I'm gonna do the Palmerton climb tomorrow and then have an easier day into Wind Gap. Well, in the rain, but so we'll see how that goes. So I'm still a couple miles away from my new site for tonight, which is a shelter. I don't remember the name of the shelter, but I will come back on when I get there. See you in a bit. This is the view looking roughly south from the bake oven knob. Got a 180 degrees view here. Well, it's about 7 o'clock. I'm at the bake oven knob shelter. It's one of the older shelters in Pennsylvania. I'm not actually staying in the shelter. I've got my tent set up nearby. There's a couple other guys that I've met a few times. Bourbon, I've mentioned once or twice, I think, and New Hampshire Peak Bagger. And they're tenting near me. There's a group of 4 20-year-olds that are using the shelter area. It is going to be a little rainy overnight, and then tomorrow's supposed to be nice. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do tomorrow. There's not a lot of, so it's about 10 miles to Palmerton, and then after Palmerton, it's about 10 miles before there's more water. So I'm trying to, and there's not a lot of camping. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do tomorrow. Yeah, so I'll think about that tonight before I try and get some sleep. Yeah, that's going to be it could be a very long day, and I think I can do it. I just don't know that I want to yet. 20 miles is a long day, so still I did I ended up doing about 17 and a half miles today, and that was tough. Those last 4 miles, man, those are real tough miles. Yeah, the rocks, they aren't joking when they call this. They call it Rocksylvania, and they are not joking. The rocks are tough. All right. So, anyways, on a brighter note, thank you to Paul and Carrie. Paul is my older brother, and Carrie is his wife, and they lived in the Central Florida area for years, and then just moved away not too long ago. But fortunately, they visited recently, so I got to see them. Gosh, and maybe it was 3 months ago now. We had lunch and talked, and I was they were both very interested in the trail, and so I got to talk all about that to them. And so a very big thank you, and I appreciate your support in my adventure. And I hope to see you again soon once this is done. All right, so other than that, that's about it. If you stuck through to the end, I appreciate it, as always. And I will see you again tomorrow on the trail.